the playfulness of even just the titling, if folks can just lean in and take a look at that, of starting to begin to say, how do we get kids energized and excited, especially around territory of foundational skills? So again, as you're starting to look at this from a teacher perspective, can you talk a little bit about the process and the some of the highlights and potentially conundrums that you had in terms of drafting this?
Well, I think when we first started, like I said, we had absolutely no idea what we were doing. But once, you and Heidi started to explain this and we had a better understanding, we had to really take a hard look at everything that we were teaching, and then pick and choose. And that kind of goes with that streamlining. We had to look and focus on, what were our goals? And I think this provides that clarity of goals instead of just a multitude of standards that sometimes even overlap. So we had to think about our reading and then connect that with our foundational skills and really try and make the goals for the kids fit each unit. And then also connect them so that they can see that it really is kind of a story all the way through the end of the year.
So I remember when I was chatting with you about this last time we had a call, I was so enamored by the titles, and you told me a quick story of how you came up with those titles. Can you replay that conversation for the LinkedIn Live audience?
The titles came from our road trip home from the conference. So I was sitting in the back seat and Darla was driving and Amy was sitting in the front, and we were just coming up. We couldn't stop. We were in that mode. And so I had a tablet in the back and we're looking, okay, unit 1, what could be the title for this? And we had to think of what are we teaching in this unit and then come up with a cute title. And so these titles did come from the road trip home.
And Allison, they haven't stopped since Altoona back in June. They really have not stopped. This group is tremendous. And I wish I could infuse their power into everyone because they just have not stopped. They've talked about it continuously. They've trained their colleagues, and we are on a roll. And we can't thank you enough for providing us with that opportunity. But to go back to something Brunella said, and Amy and Darla, you can jump in. I think an area that really came to light for us when we were in Altoona was how much you have to cover in a K-3 ELA curriculum. And how does that look in a storyboard? So it became very clear to us, as Brunella said, we couldn't just have one storyboard. We couldn't have one just for reading. It had to be a reading storyboard, a foundational skills storyboard, and it had to be a writing/grammar storyboard for our students. So we decided K-3, that was an area we were going to focus on, and we were going to create 3 separate boards for parents to view, for students to view, and for teachers to use as a guide.
Absolutely. Yeah, and thank you for clarifying that, Eloise. And one of the reasons why I wanted to lean in and pay attention to grade 1 and grade 3 foundational skills is that potentially that's something that people say, you can do it for reading and writing, but you can't do it for this. So that's why I wanted to dispel that right out of the gate, because the team's done such a beautiful job because it has an aspect of playfulness and heart and energy. And again, that's really the secret sauce of the design of curriculum storyboards. They're approachable, but they're also actionable. So it's clear not only from a teacher's perspective, but students are also beginning to see, what are you expecting from me? And how can I be part of that journey along the way that continues to grow my foundational skills so that I can continue to become a better reader, writer, and communicator?